Okay, so I know Dave already kind of got his stuff in here. So if I wanted to, I could just jump right in there and have him like sort of start things off by recounting some of his stuff, but I'm not going to, because what I want to do first is I'm going to make Bill go first because, God damn it, one of these games Bill's actually going to go first and pick his dude.
There will be a game, but it will not be this day.
Oh, it will not be this day? All right, fine. In any case, because if you guys were looking at the chat, I don't know if Mike, did you have a chance to look at the sort of forum?
No, I only just now got the message whenever I get the chat or when I get the Hangouts invite.
So the to summarize that real briefly, we talked a little bit about playbooks. Most of what I did on the playbook conversation early on was, and honestly, this was as much for me as it was for anybody else, because one of the things that I get hung up on with the playbooks is what abilities do they have? And then I try to figure out, like, from that what to do. And that's not really what the playbooks are about. So for my own exercise or whatever, I went in and said, okay, if you're doing this playbook, then your guy should be about one or the other or both or all of these sort of thematic things. So if you're the beacon, you should either be like somebody who's constantly having people question whether or not you even deserve to be there, or you should be somebody who's super, super excited and into being a superhero. They may have powers, but so they may have more powers than a typical beacon would have because their main thing is like just being so into being the hero and just thinking this is like almost Torwin-like, dare I say, in his into how being a superhero he is.
The subject did come up when we were discussing characters in this household.
Torwin is a bit of a beacon, yes.
Just a little bit.
But he's a beacon with actual abilities. It's just that nobody, until the end, he didn't get really a chance to demonstrate that he had the abilities.
You mean besides monster bait?
Yeah, monster bait. But, kick some butt there at the end. So I put that stuff up, and then I sort of transcribed and also just sort of brainstormed examples of the various playbooks, with the exception of the joined, because honestly, that thing just flummoxes me. I don't know what that's.
The Wonder Twins.
I guess.
Manos?
Yep.
Except it's not the Wonder
Twins.
It's sort of the Wonder Twins, except it's only one of the Wonder Twins, and somebody else that you're copying is not a Wonder Twin, and you're sort of eventually, and the whole point of the playbook is to grow away from that. And that's not Wonder Twin, so I don't know what that is. It's just, I can't think of an example of that type of character, so I don't know what prompted people to come up with that. I don't know.
It's for when two people want the same playbook and you can't resolve it.
There you go. Boom! You just figured it out.
That's actually a good thought on that.
What's that?
I said that was a good thought on that.
I think that actually may be probably the most likely guess. So anyway, and then we talked a little bit, everyone sort of talked about, we had two different approaches to character concepts that they came up with. We had Dave, Margie, and Catherine who were like, I have one concept, and I figured out 4 different ways I can slice that particular apple. And then
nothing that advanced.
Well, it was kind of like I had this vague idea for a character, and it would work as either this, or this. Or in your case, this or this. Or you had 2 different character concepts.
That was Dad.
Catherine,
that was me.
Yeah, Catherine might have been like, I have 2 different character concepts, and it's basically this. Bill went the route of the other way of, I'm going to write up 14 different character concepts. And they're all awesome. He sent me all the details on them, and they're all really good. Like, damn it, man. I'm going to steal whatever he doesn't play. I'm going to use as NPCs.
Go for it.
They honestly, and we'll have to talk a little bit about this in terms of tone. A couple of them, I don't know that they would fit in Young Justice. They would fit in Invincible really good.
Invincible is Young Justice, just focused on one person.
No, it isn't. It
depends on how you think.
So there's levels of tone here. It's Young Justice focused on one person. It's certainly the right age bracket, but the NC-17 label is definitely not.
I'm not going to deny that.
Because I mean, it's Young Justice in like the storylines, but when it comes to the action sequences, it's like cover the children's eyes because
Young Justice is written by Mark Millar
or Garth Ennis or
I remember it's from the same company that gave you Spawn. So this is kind of a given.
I'm like 17 books into Invincible, and I love Invincible. Don't get me wrong. And if we decide that we want to do Invincible, that's fine. That really comes down to combat narration. But I don't want to speak out of turn, but I feel as though I know Margie well enough to know that she doesn't want to hear me narrate an Invincible fight scene because there's like identifiable organs flying around the screen
viscera
all the time. Like
what I'm hearing is all the characters in this book are very vincible.
Oh, I mean,
quite vincible.
The main guy, Invincible. I mean, to be fair, he's like. I mean, it's like, what would Superman be like if Superman just punched as hard as he wanted to? And you get the sense that this guy is like literally holding back as much as he can. And then he gets a kid brother who doesn't ever think about holding back, and like this little 12-year-old like kills like 3 dudes in like his first fight.
We covered that turf in Miracle Man, and I'm done with that. So yeah, I'm doing okay.
It's all good, yeah. Anyway, okay, so we had a couple people that came up with different concepts, and I'm going to kind of take it in order of submission order to a certain extent. So if Bill will let me, I would like him to tell me what he would like to play, but he's probably just going to say, I'll play anything and just let everybody fill it in.
Pass.
Oh, God damn it.
But I know what I want to play, but I have several things that I would be okay with playing.
All right, I will.
Somebody has to go first.
Here's what
I'll go first because I've already written mine up in the character sheet.
Exactly. So
I would like to suggest, Joyce, that the people with the least variety go first. So Catherine had a couple options.
Right. Well, I'm going to go with Bill. I'm going
option.
to go with Dave initially because he literally is down to one option because I'm not going to make him rewrite his dude.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have the playbooks, and does anybody not have access to the playbooks? I think everybody does, right? Basically, does any? And just to know, do you guys have like the? I know Dave does, but do you guys have Mike and Bill have the? Excuse me.
The joint, the star, the innocent, all those.
The extras, yeah. Okay. Uh-huh. All right. Good.
I asked a comic expert friend of mine what the Innocent is for, and even she had no idea.
Oh, I know what the Innocent's for.
The Innocent's for...
It's the new Amazing X-Men thing.
It's also Iron Lad.
Yeah. But
okay,
yeah,
I've heard enough. Don't make me give a shit about X-Men. I'm done.
No, it's actually a very fun concept, and the best part is it's a character who's generally pretty sympathetic doing an incredibly selfish thing, which is Beast is like, hey, I'm dying, so I'm gonna teleport I need more brain power, so I'm gonna teleport myself, and in fact all of the other X-Men forward from the 60s and make them help me figure out how to not die.
Well, he was actually doing it as well to help kind of shame the modern day X-Men into like stop being dicks.
Yeah, also that. So basically you have the bright-eyed Cyclops of the 60s looking at the current Cyclops going, why are you such a fucker? And what the hell happened to you? And that's the whole idea of the Innocent, basically.
Well, I know what I'm playing then. I don't play a healer because no comic book series ever has a healer character. No, I'm not doing that, but you know.
Yeah, don't do that.
That's what people who are invincible or heal really quickly are for.
No, that's Elixir.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
The 2004 run was my favorite run of the new mutants.
So, Dave, you have gone with the Doomed playbook.
Doomed. Yes.
Playground. And the Doom playbook, typically personified by like a Jean Grey,
Raven.
A Raven, obviously, is one of the. I mean, certainly the art in the book is highly.
It's very archetypical Raven-like, yes.
Yeah, certainly. Also, Vale from Avengers Academy is doomed in the sense that her powers are killing her. I had a GM that was playing a Champions game back in college who basically everybody who had superpowers was basically playing the doomed archetype because all the powers were like usage basically guaranteed you were eventually going to die.
Strike first Morituri.
Yeah, so that was That's the basic idea. Is either you've got some horrible thing coming after you because of your power, or your power is killing you, or possibly a combination of both. People keep mentioning Blue Beetle as a Janus, and I actually think Blue Beetle, the way he is in Young Justice Season 2, is more of a Doomed, because he's got these powers, and this entire force of bad guys wants to, like, take him back over and or kill him in order to recover his stuff. So in a way, he's doomed. He's the Doom character. He just manages to face his doom and beat it down before he's completely lost. So
I think it makes perfect sense for
I think that works.
To be doomed.
So Blue Beetle's an example of Doom. So your background, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am Jason Quill, the son of the famous adventurer scientist Dr. Byron Quill, who spent a childhood out on great science adventures with his CIA bodyguard Rusty and his Moroccan half-brother Amir and his little corgi Brigand.
Yes, you're right, Mike. He finally gets to fucking play Johnny Quest.
I am still playing Johnny Quest. So, and I'll let you read the character sheet in more detail and the People magazine article that I've written that I'll post after tonight. The People magazine interview that I've written that I'll post later tonight. But essentially, imagine that Johnny hits around 17 and his dad says, you really need more socialization. So I'm going to send you back to Halcyon City to finish your high school education so you can go off to college and stuff like that. And the next adventure out, the whole rest of the family gets swallowed by a dimensional rift opened by Dr. Zinn, which also swallows Dr. Zinn.
Zinn, not Chin?
Well, it's Dr. Chin in this continuity.
Sure.
It's Dr. Zinn and Johnny Quest.
Sure. I like that he was Achilles' chin as opposed to Achilles' heel. That was really... I wasn't sure what you were doing with that, but okay, he's got an Achilles' chin.
So he really took it on the chin.
Yes. Before he was dropped off in the city, his dad built into him this prototype set of nanobots to help protect him because he knew, enemies, things like that. They're under his mental control. He can do things with them. But they really were designed to be better monitored and maintained and tweaked. And the fact that his dad is now gone means that there's no regular checkups or maintenance, and the use of these, which in retrospect actually echoes a lot of the use of the little mini bots in Big Hero 6.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the things that he does with them.
I didn't figure you did that on purpose, but I was sure glad that you did it. So,
essentially, he projects, in controlling them, he's projecting his mind, his psyche into them, and slowly this is untethering him from his body. And sooner or later, he's just not going to come back.
He's just going to go into the cloud and not come back.
He's just going to go into the cloud and not come back.
Okay.
Meanwhile, he's also being chased down by the daughter of Dr. Chin, Alicia, who blames him for her father's death. So that's his nemesis.
All right. So,
and his sanctuary is the
well, and that's part of the backstory. So you had covered some of the backstory, and his doom advances specifically. It'll advance in a couple types of situations, but his doom advances if he overexerts himself or if he's facing danger alone. If he's in those kind of scenes, he can expect his doom track to go forward. His doom track is sort of a
countdown clock.
Well, it's some people would call it a death spiral, but it's like actually
it's more of an overload spiral.
Well, see, and there's actually a game that's built around that. It's don't rest your head. Don't rest your head is actually like sort of a Dark City Supers thing. But what they have in there is what I think of as sort of like a ascendancy spiral. You're just becoming more and more awesome until you become so powerful you die. Like it's like, because what happens eventually is you crash from exhaustion, and that's sort of what the doom spiral is built to be, because you're going closer and closer to your inevitable, unavoidable death. But as you go, you keep hitting these milestones where you pick up cool powers. So,
Level up.
it's an ascendancy spiral, and it's possible to bounce out of the spiral and save yourself and move on to another playbook. It's just difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So Alicia Chen's the genius thing. The sanctuary is, he has access to his father's labs at the downtown facilities, which gives him access to a powerful computer. What was the other thing?
Containment.
And the
Containment device.
and healing
And
equipment.
healing equipment.
And its location is known to everybody because of the gigantic queue on the top of the building. And this is another thing that will also advance his Doom track. The systems there are intricately tied to his Doom.
They have the same mental security protocol as the nanobot swarm. So every time he uses them...
Well, they tend to... So what that functionally means is he can frequently... I mean, one of the Doom's main abilities, aside from the fact that they've just got scary powers, is you can use your sanctuary to solve problems in the same way that sort of the workshop works in like Apocalypse World and stuff like that. The downside is that almost every time that happens and you want to use the workshop to help solve a problem, one of the prices of that is going to be, oh, and by the way, this, and advance your Doom track. And this is what that looks like, kind of a deal. So, because it's tied to your power. What were the other questions? I asked Dave some questions. When did you first learn of your Doom, Dave?
When did I first learn of my Doom? Let me see what I wrote. Well, I began getting this weird feeling after I'd pushed my control of the nanobots, like I wasn't fully back in my body. I finally had the Foundation computers run a full diagnostic on me and the system, and learned that my mental control over them was slowly but surely causing a neurological dissociation. So my consciousness threatened to just blur into the bots and never come back. That was, about 6 months ago or so. I'm trying not to push things too much, but sometimes I have to. Which means, since my dad isn't here to fix things, sooner or later I'm not coming back.
All right. Aside from the obvious thing where she wants to kill you for losing her dad through a dimensional rift that he created, so totally logical, why do you oppose your nemesis?
Because she's knucking futz and wants to kill me and everyone I care for. Is that too obvious a reason? Maybe because I know she can be something different or better than all of this.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's a great answer. Because I can make her something better. Because if I can just connect with her, if I can just reach her, if she can help me fix these goddamn nanobots because she's smarter than I am.
There's that.
Who outside of the team is crucial to defeating your nemesis?
Yeah, this one I struggled with a little bit. I mean, obviously it's on my dad, but he's not around. Family's not around. Maybe some military intelligence types, but they just want to get their hands on all of Dad's stuff that they don't already have, and I kind of put a stop to that. So
there may be an opportunity there with other people who are going to be on the team. If they have an NPC that's not on the team, that seems like it might tie into this a little bit. That you might have an NPC that that would know Alicia, that you could tie in there. That's potentially good too. Why does the team matter to you?
Because, I really don't have anyone else now, do I? And maybe together we can do some good before, whatever.
You turn into gray goo. Yeah. Lovely. Okay. So that is Dave's basic idea. He's got some other stuff to answer. He's got his relationship questions to answer that he can't really answer until he's found out about all of you guys. And Margie, I have been thinking about your concept because I need to ask some more questions about it, but we'll get there. We'll get there. And that's about it. And then Dave's got another thing that's a team question, but I really don't want to even ask those questions until we get around sort of to everybody. So that is Jason Quill. Does he have a superhero name, or is it just Jason Quill because everybody kind of knows who he is?
Everybody watched him grow up on those damn cartoons.
Nice. And Mike is laughing about this. This is funny.
Where's Haji?
I have literally Haji is not. It's not Haji. What's his name?
Amir.
It's Amir, and he's no matter what it says on the cartoons, they made him Persian, so he would fly on this little rug.
Oh God.
Amir was Moroccan. I mean, he got pissed off about. Of course, what did he have to complain about? I had a girl doing my voice.
So yeah. Oh, that's funny. I like all of that. God, that's. I have never seen an episode of Johnny Quest, but I feel as though I have, Dave. I feel as though now.
It must be. It might be required. We have them on DVD.
Yeah, I know you do.
Your kids would love them.
Who would?
Your kids.
I'm sure they probably would. They're all.
They would learn all sorts of really inappropriate stories about from B-movie fiction of the 1930s.
Yeah. Wow.
Bad stereotypes.
Classic.
Bad stereotypes.
Very bad stereotype. Yeah, I think I might go for
Better
the.
than some of Disney.
It's fair. Also
Not
fair.
much.
Okay, so. Margie or Kay, do you want to do rock paper scissors for this, or what? Do you
Got it.
All right, so is that Margie?
Sure, I can do that.
All right, so tell me about your concept, because you had thrown out a couple ideas, and what I picked up on is like you're a person from. It doesn't really work with the innocent because you're a person from the very distant past.
Okay, so the two that I think will work best is either transformed or outsider.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what she is a ghost. She's a teenager who died around the Civil War, and her reanimation came about when a fight between insert magic superhero and insert time traveling villain, spills over into the cemetery where she's been interned, and it reanimates her, and so she's out. She's a person out of step with time because, of course, she died during the Civil War, and it's not.
Right.
But she's also, definitely transformed in that she's a ghost.
Right.
So
Okay.
either of those, and I looked at your questions, and really either of those could fit depending upon what everybody else is looking for. I have a picture of her up.
You do?
Yeah.
Where?
I just put it up
In the where?
in the Roll20. She should be there.
I don't see the thing from you. Why don't I see
Oh,
it?
maybe close it. Now try it. See?
No.
See? Ghost
Our character
Girl.
sheet.
I'm Ghost Girl.
Oh, the character sheet. I'm sorry. I was looking at like the chat window.
Oh,
Ghost Girl.
there I am.
Okay,
Ghost
so
Girl.
she's a ghost. Okay. So my first thing, you're probably
And
right.
that's how I make it fit better with the outsider transformed, because I couldn't really find a fit with just, sort of the idea that she was, had died and, 100 and some odd years later, she's alive and having to learn all about the modern world.
So
Was part of what I was going for, but it doesn't really fit any of the archetypes.
the problem now, as an outsider, it works because if you're filled with wonder about the modern world, blah 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 blah. That works conceptually for the sort of the concept of the outsider. The problem that we're going to run into repeatedly with the outsider, aside from that, is that not the powers, which are fine, but the what do I want to say? The moves are all about messing with shit with your advanced tech.
Okay,
And
so it's
yeah.
tech based, not psi based.
It's really it's a lot of it's about like modifying existing normal tech with your tech, that kind of stuff. And it gets really I mean, for what you're talking about.
So you think that transformed is better?
Let me look at the transformed for that and see what that looks like, because I didn't look at the.
Because to be real, I wasn't looking at the moves. I was looking at the cover stuff more.
Right.
So
I'm just trying to figure out how it plays forward and stuff, and because it's about modifying other stuff. I'm not.
No, I agree. I didn't realize it was tech based.
Yeah. So.
Well, because if you look at the abilities on the front, it's I mean, alien weaponry is one thing, but it also has, density control and telepathy and things like that.
Really well. So we could go. Let me think. So with transformed, you could go with what are you supposed to take? Choose two superhuman senses, and impenetrable armor in the sense that you really can't be hurt by normal stuff. So that's certainly one way of doing that, but that doesn't really give you a lot of. Well, you can kind of vision stuff. Like you can do the vision thing of flying through people and stuff like that. In terms of how do I affect somebody? How do I actually fight a dude?
Right.
So that might work. What about?
Hey, Joyce.
Yeah. If anybody else has any thoughts,
the outsider would totally work
Uh-huh.
if you choose specific moves.
So
if you choose alien ways, the best of them, and not so different after all, it would totally work with the concept.
So alien ways, whenever you openly disregard or undermine important of custom in favor of one of your own people's customs, so that's more of a time. I mean, alien ways works in just time shifting thing. For some reason, when Dave was talking about no, she's from further back than that, I was like, okay, is she like the lizard civilization that was here on Earth before?
I didn't mean that further back.
Yeah, alien ways, the best of them when you comfort or support someone by telling them how they exemplify the best parts of Earth. Roll freak instead of mundane. Okay, not so different after all. When you talk about your home, roll freak. No, that totally works. I mean, you're right. The weird part would probably come a little bit later when it says, and you don't have to take these moves because you got to take 5 moves, but none of them have to be another move from your playbook. They could be a move from a different playbook, that kind of stuff. So we could find other moves from other playbooks that work well as advances for her.
Well, and even belonging to two worlds could work if I could commune with other spirits.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was thinking.
Oh yeah, you could have ghosts coming to you could be like the
using the spiritual world instead of aliens coming to take her away and things like that.
I don't hate this. I don't hate this at all. The only other thing I was thinking of was maybe the Nova.
Well, and that was the other one that we had talked about, although that was one that Dave was also looking at one point.
Dave's handled. So with that one, you could just go with something easier like telekinesis and telepathy. You could go with something really easy like sorcery, that kind of stuff.
Super poltergeist.
Nova is a little bit weird. You do end up, you get really good at unleash your powers. You get really familiar with that particular move, and a lot of burn. Basically you. It's kind of like how Dave's force powers worked, where you roll once to get your points together. And then you burn those points to do extra special stuff above and beyond what the moves could already do. Like how his Jedi worked. And it ends up being it ends up being pretty cool. But I think I kind of like the outsider idea. It's actually really cool. I will almost I won't mandate it, but I think it would be adorable if Dave's character's relationship is, I just want to kiss this particular character once before my doom takes me, and she's like an incorporeal ghost. So you're just screwed. You're just screwed. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So
and Transforms has the sort of untouchable flesh, which would work with the same thing. So
sure.
Let's see what everybody else is interested in. I think we can make either of those work. My original one was the outsider, just because of that from a different time.
Certainly, density control, that would be great. And then you could go with telepathy and mind blast. You could go with probably stunning beauty. You could do with radical shapeshifting would be a little bit weird, but I mean density control and telepathy would be like the easy ones for the spirit world. I think that's awesome. So yeah, we're going to put a pin in outsider. Take a look while you're thinking about it, because we're probably going to have to do a little bit of because when it says things like Earth, why did you come to Earth and stuff like that, I think the answer is more like, why did you come back? Or something like that. So for the backstory, take a look at the backstory questions. You know, I'm immediately creepified by questions like, why do your people want you to come home? Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
The dead should not be arisen.
Those are great.
Yeah.
So why do you want to stay here for now? At least it puts a whole different spin on the outsider that I really love. So
Good.
That's great. That is a ton of fun. I like it. Catherine, you are now out of luck. So let's hear it.
Uh-oh.
So that's the outsider and the doomed spoken for. You were talking about a legacy or a Janus?
I was liking the legacy idea more.
Okay, I like legacy, so tell me about this legacy. Because that also informs some of the world, because if you've got a legacy, that also means there's a certain kind of hero that's certain
Out there.
like chain of, you know, you've got the Bat family, or you've got the Superman, or you've got the Flashes, or you've got something. So what do we got?
We have Harry Gale, more famously known as Mercury.
Ooh. Okay.
Child of Speedsters, Streak and Tempest.
Nice. When I get over here where I can. So you're doing like the Speedster legacy kind of thing.
Yeah.
So good, you know, your most immediately your most difficult challenge is going to be coming up with Speedster names that haven't already been done within an inch of their life, because
that is what I spent part of the afternoon looking for.
That's awesome. All right, so you got your legacy. So we're looking at. Okay, so we're going to look at the abilities right now, because with the abilities, they're different on the legacy. You don't pick them so much as pick what you don't have. So the ability set for you in this case with the legacy would be the super speed, regeneration, phasing, speed reading and learning, the air manipulation. So what out of those you're supposed to pick two that what was your character's?
Pick two that you don't have.
Yeah, what's your character's name again?
Mercury.
No, but okay, so is it
Harry Gale.
Harry. So what
Initial HG.
All right. Okay. I like that. What
Nice.
Thank you.
What abilities doesn't Mercury have out of that list? Because
I decided to go with the two that would possibly cause the most conflict with his family.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Phasing and the speed reading learning.
What was the second one, or the first one rather?
Phasing.
Phasing. Okay, and not the speed reading and learning. It's like you can just read that. You just what? God, yeah. So they would constantly tapping their foot, being frustrated with you. So you've got the super speed, the regeneration, the air manipulation, which are all like the cool tricks. Phasing would be nice, but it's super complicated, and you're supposed to like set. Yeah, I like that.
Why? The bad guy's behind that wall. If we could just get Mercury through there. No, I can't do that.
I'm going to run around the wall. Walls can be run around. It totally works. I just want to say for the record that you have already demonstrated a deep, deep understanding of how math works by saying I'm going to pick the powers that are going to most annoy my family. I mean, you pretty.
And also some kind of tension, like as a child growing up. Why can't I speed read? Am I stupid or something?
Yeah, of course.
Speed dyslexia.
I just can't I can read it fast. I just can't retain any of it when I'm done. It's just gone.
It goes in one ear and out the other.
Okay. I like it. I think it's fun. There's some background questions there as well that you'll want to think about this while we're going, because we're going to loop back and talk about backstory stuff. Dave's the only one who had done those, so I kind of want people to be thinking about that a little bit. When did you officially become part of your legacy? How old's Harry? That's a good
question.
I mean, this is sort of this is sort of millennials, the superhero story. So are we doing college
It's
kids? Are we
high
doing high schoolers? It doesn't have to be.
High schoolers and such, each trying to figure out who they are and what's going on. Gee, it's almost like real life.
Yes, it absolutely is like that. But to be fair, if you watch any given episode of either The Flash or Arrow, or to be fair, even Supergirl, although less so Supergirl, but Flash and Arrow are basically nothing but masks moves from the beginning to the end. I mean, or as Bill put it, Spider-Man Homecoming is basically a solo game of masks. Like beginning to end. And I can't decide if he's the Janus, which he probably should be, or if he's actually Iron Man's protege. What a dick mentor, though. Holy crap. I mean, what a jerk of a mentor. But anyway. So look at your backstory stuff. We're going to be asking those kind of questions. Look at the relationship stuff. There's also, I don't know if you guys saw this, I put a link up in the chat list of some alternative playbook moves that one of the guys on the masks list had sort of put together. And some of them are fun. They may suit your particular take on the playbook that you picked. And most of them have one. My personal favorite out of the list, they're all fine. But one of the ones for the beacon is money is my superpower, and it's a good move. It's a really good move. So yeah, if you're the beacon is like partly doing this just because they have the money to do it, it's a fun move. But they're all pretty good, and they may be a fun spin on some of your stuff. All right, so I think the one for Legacy, Catherine, is like write in the blanks on these 3 sort of unwritten rules that your Legacy follows, and see if you can break them without anybody finding out about them over the course of play. And if you can, you get to replace that move with a completely different move. Write that one off and take XP.
I did not hear any of that. You broke up.
I broke up
for me.
So what I was saying is there's a little playbook in one of the playbook in the thing. Right. The Legacy one is one about sort of writing down kind of what some of the rules of the Legacy are, and then seeing if you can break them without getting caught. Which is a fun, and if you can, you get XP, and if you can't, you get in trouble. So it probably means more dice rolling and more XP anyway. So, and then once you get done with the whole thing, you get to erase the moves, and you get to erase that move and replace it with a different one. So that's kind of fun. Bill, are you ready? Oh, he's muted. You're muted. Did he say pass again?
What's Mike playing?
Oh, come on. All right, fine. Mike, what do you got? Oh, what did
I brought props. So
let me see. I gotta see. You didn't. Okay, you gotta hold it up higher. I'm not seeing the whole thing. Keep going.
Oh no, I just wanted you to see the title. That was the only
Nova. Oh, the Nova. I see. Okay. You know, it always it should really scare me. Really, if somebody's like the first, like, what are you thinking about? I want to play the Nova. Like that should terrify people.
I had ideas for the Nova and the Bull. Those were the first 2 that came to mind.
The Nova and the Bull are, in weird ways, they have a lot of, like, they're really not the same set.
Brute effort.
But they do really have, in some ways, very similar kind of. In fact, one of the things is one of the moves you can do as a Nova is pick up the Bull's heart thing and have that going on. So aside from like trying to control your powers and that kind of stuff, you can definitely be one of those people who's wondering, am I more of a weapon than a thing or anything like that. So what's the character concept for the Nova?
So basically what I wanted to do was I wanted to have some character who's like, he's a kid and he's lucked across this powerful weapon, and it is one of many weapons tied to virtues. I kind of wanted to go the whole Green Lantern route here. So this implies that there's other virtues out there as well.
Okay.
Or other weapons actions based on those virtues. And I figured, you know what, this would be the hardest virtue for a kid to hold on to, and for something so infinitely powerful, it would be good if he had to obey the virtue of humility in order to get his powers to work.
Okay. So he's found some sort of thing that gives him powers, but in order to channel it, he's got to be humble, but he's one of the most powerful people in the city.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. That oh boy. Okay.
He's like low self-esteem man. It's going to be great.
Kind of.
Well, yeah, except not. If it's supposed to be a struggle, then.
Well, think about it. I have to mark conditions in order to get powers.
Oh yeah,
So,
you need to be feeling, bad about yourself. The humility. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I mean that part of it. You can make it work. What's the weapon like, or what's the thing like?
I figured I was going to go for the whole cosmic energies thing, since he's, it's sort of that same thing as the Green Lantern. They channel courage, but it comes out as a beam.
Right,
and
or they make stuff out of it, or whatever. But in this case, probably more beams and. I mean, really, you can kind of do whatever you want to with the thing, because that's how the Nova is set up. Is your powers are meant to be just. Yeah. It doesn't really matter which one of the things you pick, because you can pretty much do whatever you want to do with the power. It's one of those what champions used to have, like the variable power pool.
Mm-hmm.
You can just kind of build anything you want to out of this pile of points. So. I need to think about. I'm not saying no by any stretch of the imagination. I need to think about the humility thing, because I'm not sure how you. I'm not sure. I'm having trouble envisioning what that looks like, and I'm going to say on a comic book page.
Well, allow me to give you my thoughts on this.
Okay, sure, by all means.
Yeah. So he can't be doing this for himself. Like, if he starts showing off or stuff like that, and he's like, "Yeah, I got, take them out." That's when his powers start to falter. Okay. However, if he's like, "Oh, I need to save these people,"
that reminds me of somebody.
Yeah, he has to not do. He basically has to not do it for himself.
I mean, it's sort of the. Dave, you would not be thinking of Tiffany Aching, but no. But I mean, yeah, I get. Well, it's almost kind of sad, really, because he can't ever just go I'm just gonna go flying because I'm just gonna do it for fun. It's not like he could never do it, but there's like a weird line he's got to draw there to he sort of has to kind of at least be patrolling or something, But it's the idea is that it isn't even so much humility as much as it is kind of a selflessness. Or a greater good kind of a thing. Oh man, that's a tough row to hoe. So one of the things, that tells me where the powers kind of sputter and fade out. But one of the big things that goes on with the Nova is the powers rolling out of control. Getting too big. So what does that look like? Where does that trigger happen in this kind of situation? Is it an anger thing on behalf of others? Is it major?
Be humble, but not too humble.
Well, I don't know that you could. You
can't humble brag these powers.
I don't know that you can humble berserk, but some kind of righteous anger or righteous just righteousness, I guess, or something like that. Some holy certainty or something like that really, and I don't want to put a religious spin on it, but it's the idea that I want to make sure that we have an idea of what it looks like, because I'm going to have to narrate some of the. I mean, once things start rolling out of control, that usually falls on me, and I want to make sure I understand what it looks like when this thing spirals out of control. Not sputters and dies. That's easy to imagine and kind of funny.
Well, so do realize the way I kind of saw it is less of, that, there's kind of this whole thing of where he's, where like the power's overwhelming him or something like that. Though that could sort of be one of those things where he's like almost dissociated in a certain idea of where he's doing things for the greater good.
Is there?
But he could just also not be very skilled with these abilities. It's like infinite power, not really great at controlling them.
Well, yeah, because he's a teenager. Or, human. I'm wondering if there isn't, and the problem with this question is that it runs the risk of straying somewhat close to Dave's sort of idea. But I'm wondering if there isn't a will behind the power itself that
kind of pushes him.
Yeah, and sort of the D&D thing of having to deal with the intelligent weapon that's actually smarter than you are.
So getting kind of almost to a Blue Beetle type of
yeah,
sense.
But not the Blue Beetle thing. I don't know if you Mike, did you watch Young Justice?
I didn't watch Young Justice, but I own all of the volume 8 of Blue Beetle.
So the big thing that they played up a lot certainly at the beginning of the second season, but really all the way through it, is that the Scarab is constantly like. Well, actually, if you watch Spider-Man Homecoming, honestly, his suit does the same thing. It's like, do you want to go into instant kill mode? No. Why do you even have instant kill mode? No. And so the Scarab is constantly egging him on to like, he knows too much. You need to eliminate him. You need to kill this guy. She's agreed not to tell. You need to kill her before she changes her mind. And not that in this case, but like the idea that it's like, if you don't do enough, the power is always there, willing to like take the necessary steps, kind of thing. So it's not so much lost to you, but like you run the risk of potentially just becoming a conduit. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Does it? Or are you being? It sounds terrible, but awesomely terrible.
It sounds like it'll make a great story.
Okay, I'll buy that. Okay, so I want you to think a little bit more about.
I kind of came into this with like a half idea, and I was just like, how do I make this Green Lantern without making it Green Lantern?
Oh, there's so many ways to do Green Lantern without doing Green Lantern. But this is certainly it. Now, this isn't exactly Green Lantern, because what you're getting here is a ring that's like sort of thinks it knows more about what it should be doing than you do. And I don't know I'm sure there's probably a good supers example of that we didn't already come up with.
It's Nova.
It's Nova. Blue Beetle actually kind of funny because they seem to have some sort of weird background with the Green Lanterns too. The Beatles do. Anyway, all right. So think some more about that. Look at the backstories. What was the other one you were thinking about?
The Bull.
The Bull. Okay. All right.
Because who doesn't want to just play the punk kid who thinks really highly of themselves? And is
angry. Yeah. And is angry all the time.
And also, they have everything they need to back it up.
Yeah. I think Superboy is probably one of my favorite characters from Young Justice, certainly, and he's like, for my mind, the first season of him is just the definitive. It's like, what if Hulk was 18 and could never shut it off? It's just so good. Although I will say this, Bill managed to come up with a Bull that doesn't have any I never thought I would see somebody who wrote up the Bull as basically a young Tony Stark. And it totally works. It totally works. It's like, and even has a way of hulking out that totally works, which I think is also hilarious. And it has puns. So, also good. Well, for some value of good. Bill, you've run out of people to walk behind on this one. So, what do we have? We have a Doomed. We have a
Legacy, Outsider, and Nova.
You've been checking stuff off of your list, haven't you?
Yep.
Doomed, Legacy, Outsider, and a Nova. Classics all the way around. What are you looking at?
I'm playing the bull.
Okay. I guess I talked up the right one then. So,
And I wanted to make a quick suggestion for the humility-based Green Lantern, if you like.
Sure, by all means.
If this power has been given to you by somebody who's decided that the source of evil in the universe is arrogance and overweening pride, they're like, I'll give the people, like the common people of the world, the power to resist this, this dominance by people who just have too much attitude, and we'll start with you if you become one of them.
Oh, okay. Oh God. So that gives you the Guardians like sitting around somewhere, or at least a Guardian, or
just imagine a tiny little like short shrimpy guy like with blue skin, 1 billion years old, sitting on your shoulder, judging you all the time.
That's the best.
But no.
So yeah, it pretty much is just like sophomore year. All right, the bull tag is you're big, strong, and tough. You know what fighting really is. You're good at it. You've got a soft side too, but only you know. You only show that to people you care about most. Everybody else can eat your fist. Bill took this and kind of turned it on its head. So read the thing that you sent. Would you tell me about? Is this Link? Is this Link?
Yeah.
Right,
yes.
So let's talk about Link.
All right. So who is Link? He is this kid whose father's a supervillain, Rossum, the minion maker, who manufactures those identikit henchmen that all like professional supervillains have. Like the guys wearing like the matching themed costumes. Rossum builds those guys and sells them to other supervillains.
Okay.
So he's doing quite well. The one thing Rossum never got in his life though was love. Like he can get obedience.
Did he build a son?
But not affection. No.
He didn't
so
build a son.
By hook or by crook, he impressed this woman long enough to, become a father, and wanted to stay in the kid's life. Unfortunately, because he's a supervillain, the cops just kept coming for him. And so Leo got shuffled between foster families. And what would happen is that Rossum would show up after several months, be like, hey, kid, we're going on a joyride. Hey, I bet you've never seen, Borneo from 50,000 feet. I have this volcano lair. It's amazing. And then, the supers come up, and they're like, okay, listen, we're going to put your dad under arrest again. So he's had kind of a rough time growing up. Finally, the SHIELD equivalent in this world, I guess Aegis, intervened. They stepped in. They're like, well, take care of your old man. We're just going to keep an eye on you because you seem to have inherited his gift for inventing. He also has, as a consequence of that, some brain damage, and his dad corrected that with a chip that's implanted in his brain. This is I had some reservations about Dave's concept, meshing with this one, but I think there's sufficiently different. It's okay.
Yeah.
So with this, he's able to sort of extract like a copy of his brain, mutate it, and turn it into artificial intelligences. So he's been building these robot friends. And he built himself like a self-driving car at 13. He built himself a robot girlfriend at 16. And now they go on adventures.
Please tell people what the name of the car is.
The name of the car is Otto. O-T-T-O.
Of course it is.
He was 13. Don't judge.
Okay. Except for the fact that you weren't 13 when you thought of it. But still.
Technically, construction finished at 13. When the feet are long enough to reach the pedals, that's when you're ready.
So the part that works very, very bull-like, I like. For me, this is going to be for Amber players, but for me, the bull is the character who puts 50 points in strength, and then 0 points in the other 3 stats, and then gets pattern attunement. It's just simple. But he did this with the power armor. So he's got power armor, and then he's got. How do you power up from that?
So basically, his robot friends can combine with him. They transform and then lock around the suit, either making him just stronger, faster, bigger, or whatever. So
the first one, the girlfriend / bodyguard can lock in, and then the car comes in. So he can basically go from bad to Iron Man, upgrade to War Machine, upgrade to Hulkbuster.
Pretty much.
Which is
the shtick is also that they keep kind of a lid on him And Numa, the android girl, has a much more level head than he does, which is weird because she's basically extracted from his brain.
Except
He's
she,
like,
yeah.
he's like, I don't know how that worked.
So that's good. The only really like I want to make sure not to thing is we don't want him too inwardly pointing.
Right.
So I want to make sure that his relationship stuff, at least to a certain one extent or another, is pointed not at like just the stuff he's already created.
We've got that covered. So Otto's kind of like the best friend, Happy Hogan type character. He's kind of just around. Numa's a different story. She came to this existential realization that basically she was built to fall in love with this kid, but she couldn't think of herself as a real person if she just went with her programming. So now they're just friends.
Because she's sort of like testing not doing that to make sure that she's...
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
So now he's just like... It's a very frustrating time for this kid.
I built the perfect girlfriend, and she pretty much wants to just like text and go out to coffee shops.
Friend zoned to the extreme.
No.
By his own creation.
Friend zoned by his own creation. Oh God.
So he's got a lot of anger.
He's got pretty much born out of frustration. I just don't understand people. Okay. So we have the Bull, the Legacy, the Nova, the Doomed, and the Outsider. So I think that's everybody. I mean, I'm ready for Teen Titans. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like we've got that pretty much locked down. All right. So we're gonna let me get out of this thing here. I've been trying to find pictures of Galra soldiers from Voltron, but for some reason they just don't have pictures of them like standing rank on rank, because they're like the perfect like cookie cutter soldier robot to use, and for some reason I can't find a freaking picture of a Galra. It's crazy. I might just be thinking that they're perfect because my kids and I have been watching so much Voltron right now that I'm just dreaming about it at night. Doesn't matter. All right, so we need to jump into the character sheets. If you guys look, if you don't have the Playbook Sanity, you should have the Playbook Sanity. So things you need to do, we need to look at the labels. We need to look at, I got to grab my book here one sec. Can't quite reach it. Too much. So your character, all your playbooks come with sort of stock values for your qualities, for your labels, and then you can take and put one. You can raise one of them by 1 point. Freak is, well, backing that up. No, actually, I'll go with there. Freak, if you guys haven't really figured that out, Freak is about. From your point of view, is seeing yourself as strange or unusual, unique, powerful. Freak, from other people's point of view, if they're telling you that you should raise your freak, or if they're doing something that implies that you are, like that needs to go up, it's because they think you're odd, you're not like them, you're unnatural, or you're outside of their understanding. If dangerous is you seeing yourself as someone who's threatening, strong, who takes risks, who can stand toe-to-toe and trade blows with dangerous people. If other people see you as dangerous, they think that they should stay clear of you because you attract harm to those around you. Savior, from your point of view, is someone who is a good defender, who guards people, who protects people. They're stalwart, they're reliable, noble. People might think of you as noble and self-sacrificing, but they also might see you as overbearing and moralizing. So, a young Captain America, great guy, really nice, also kind of a Boy Scout, that kind of a deal. Superior is seeing yourself as sort of the smartest person in the room, and a way people can look at you negatively is if they also think of you as somebody who sees themselves as the smartest person in the room. So if you're talking about stuff where you have to be smart and capable and quick and crafty, that's superior, but it's also arrogant and an egotistical jerk and stuff like that. And finally, mundane is seeing yourself as empathetic, human, understanding of other people, and just normal. And if people are looking at you as mundane, you're just boring and uninteresting, but also empathetic and stuff like that. It's like, no, you're a good listener. You really understand people. That's them sort of pushing and saying, you're that. So what you want to do is use your little arrows there to set your various labels the way that the book indicates, and then figure out which one's going to go up. You can't have your the -2 won't come up, but the highest your stats can go is 2 or 3. Any of your labels can go as a 3, and the lowest any of them can go as a -2. You can't subtract. We're not going to do any math or anything. Trust me, your labels are going to move all the time, just really all the time. So figure that stuff out, and then if you have moves to pick, and all of you probably have at least a couple, possibly more, figure out which ones you want to do, and get them into the moves section there. If they have passive moves, near as I can tell, passive moves are just sort of things that are just sort of true about your character that you don't necessarily need to roll for. So one of Dave's passive moves is just his doom, for example. If you have, Bill will run in here for danger or defender, which is when you leap to defend your love or rival in battle. Well, actually, I don't know if that's that's not a passive one. You didn't do it as a passive one. What'd you have down here for passive? Oh, Bull's Heart. You always have exactly one love and one rival. You can change your love or your rival at any time. Give the new subject of your affections or disdain or influence over you. Take +1 ongoing to any action that impresses your love or frustrates your rival. So that's a passive thing. It's just kind of true. You don't have to roll for it. If you have to roll for it, put it in the active stuff. And if you have an active move, if you got to roll, put it in active. If you don't have to roll on it, put it down in the passive stuff. You put love in you put Numa in your love thing. So I definitely have some
as a starting point.
Yeah, have some team member in as your rival.
I need to figure that out still.
Yeah, exactly. So think about that. So labels, moves, and also take a look at those backstory questions and get those into your front page there. And once, what should we do? Give ourselves like 10 minutes here and kind of figure out what the answers are to these things, start sketching some stuff out. And then because I want to share those background answers, ask the questions and answer them and stuff like that, so we get a better question. If people are stuck on stuff, please ask everybody, because we might come up with some good ideas there and some cool things. Start looking for ways that you guys might be connected. You do know each other. There's a few things I want to, if we're okay with this, there's some assumptions about how the game plays out. One is, unless you guys are like really want to be in a DC universe or something, the assumption is that we're in this Halcyon city, which has generations and generations and generations of supers in the past, and it's sort of like a magnet for weirdness. So it's the greatest city on the world. It's also the weirdest city on the world. You've grown up in a super. It's Uber New York. It's more than New York. It's New York plus Gotham plus Astro City plus Paragon City. It's all of it. The assumptions on the team, and I don't think we have any real problems here, is you all chose to be on the team. So you might have been pressured into it in character. You might have been, you might feel guilt about it and you're on the team to absolve it. You might audibly wish you weren't on the team, but secretly loving it. But ultimately it's your choice to be on the team. We're young and we're not killers. You might have had some bad stuff happen. You might have wrecked a building or two. You might have hurt some people, made some mistakes. Some of your actions might have even led to deaths, but you're not you don't solve problems by just putting a bullet in somebody's head or dropping a rock on them.
No murder hobos.
No murder hobos. We're not playing a Garth Ennis comic book. You aren't illegal or openly hunted yet.
Yes.
So you might be watched. Yeah, the yet is definitely there. You aren't illegal. You aren't openly hunted. You're playing within the bounds of the thing. So Aegis is kind of watching you. People, certainly heroes are watching you. Who was the legacy? So I'm curious. Kay, something to think about is this a family gig? the legacy thing. Is this a family gig, or is it more of like the Speedster family? Like, the power found you, so we're just kind of bringing our
No, it's parents.
Right. You mentioned mom and dad. Mom and dad were both Speedster, I suppose. Can you keep an eye on
Well,
Like rabbits.
there aren't that many speedsters. There's mom and dad, and then some other poor sap who got hit by chemicals.
God, there was a
Kind of
Speedster.
Added into the family. He's Uncle Chase.
That Super's Uncle Chase. I like that.
I'm running out of names. I have
you know what I thought of?
Swift Chase.
There's one that gets used. I don't know if you guys have ever played. No, Dave bought it. I don't know. We only ever played it the one time because it's super hard. It's really easy to play online. It's really hard to play in the actual board game. But there's like that Super's battle card game thing, and the Speedster hero in that is named Tachyon. And I thought that was a pretty good one.
Given the ubiquity of super speed people, there's any number of names that have been used. I mean,
I was looking it up this afternoon. Velocity is one.
Just hit the thesaurus.
Yeah.
Look up speed. Look up wind.
I did. I
like what she got. I like Mercury.
Mercury's great.
Mercury's great.
Mercury was not the problem. It was
all
the
the
rest
other
of the
people.
family.
If you pick a legacy, you got to come up with a lot of. Now, the one that they did in the book is totally cheating because basically everybody is uses the same name. So it's just like Huma 3 or something like that. It's like, come on, man. I mean, really? But yeah, I did like Tachyon for two reasons. I like Tachyon because it was a name I hadn't thought of before for a speedster, and it was she was the premier speedster and a girl, and I just realized that like Marvel and DC don't do female speedsters, and I was like, hey,
Jesse Quick,
but not like banner speedsters. You know what I mean? Like it's never the marquee speedster is not a female.
True.
No,
but that's true for most superhero classes.
Because it's really hard to run that fast when you're wearing that little clothing.
That's very true.
And heels.
I like Jesse Quick.
And heels.
So you aren't illegal and openly hunted yet, but at the same time you aren't beloved. They might, you're just another hero. You're one of the young ones. You aren't hunted by superheroes and law enforcement, but you also aren't beloved by the city yet. You might be more or less well liked.
You're another group of random superhero kids wandering around the city.
Well, and the millenniums are ruining everything. Now the millenniums are ruining superheroes, man. When I met, what was your dad's name?
Streak.
When I met Streak, man, he took the time in the middle of a fight to sign a picture of him for my wife. And the last time, and I met this new one, this Mercury, whatever his name is, the kid in the silver tights. I mean, he didn't even stop. I was like trying to talk to him. He acted like he had to like all he could do was just like it was all he could do just to keep up with the fight he was in. Hey, come on,
Joyce. I have to say right now that this brings to mind like a supers convention where people are getting autographs signed, and there's just a line of eager kids at the Speedster booth with like a bunch of blurry, out of focus photos.
And really badly scrawled signatures.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no line at the Speedster booth.
No, the one of the things that that actual play that I mentioned to you guys that's run by the guy who does the game and is played with a bunch of people who are, I will say this, encyclopedic in their knowledge of Young Justice. I was astonished by the amount of knowledge that they were throwing out there. But the guy playing Kid Flash at the Happy Harbor graduation, like, well, what are you doing while all this is going on? And he did like the most ultimately Kid Flash and/or Speedster thing, which was he photobombed literally every single graduation picture that was being taken in the entire thing. And every single one of them, he's perfectly in focus for just that flashbulb moment, and then he's off to the next guy. He goes, and also, I'm tasting all the cake, like everybody's cake. But yeah, he was basically photobombing everybody.
That is amazing.
Oh, it was such a this guy just channeled the ultimate and he was doing him as the weird thing was he was doing him as a beacon, so his actual freak was low, and so when he did power stuff, it frequently didn't go very well, and also his dice were just terrible. He had the worst rolls, but that didn't really matter because he was so Wally, like he was just. He did such a good job with them. But yeah, the photobombing thing just struck me. But yeah, the thing about not being popular is like, especially with the Legacy or something like that, people know, like if you're a speedster, well, they know all the other speedsters. So they know what you're living up to. Everybody's seen Power.
Never fast enough. Everyone always compares me to the others.
Like I actually saw him. Would you believe this? I actually saw him run into a wall. When have you ever seen a speedster run into a wall? They run up a wall. They run around a wall. Most of them go through the wall. This kid, man, right into it. Can you believe that? I mean, I don't even know if he's really a speedster. Maybe he just launched himself on a
trying really hard that time. I figured if I got enough momentum, I could do it.
But, yeah. So we've got that. We've got the fact that Bill's guy is like the son of a pretty well-known supervillain. Dave's guy is well known, but I mean, I don't remember any cartoons where you had like this weird cloud of like robot, weird, spooky things. There's a ghost girl that's freaking people out and dresses funny. I don't know what that's about.
I do not know what you are talking about.
Oh, that's going to be so much fun. And then we have. Like,
I wish you could see me fanning myself.
Oh, I can picture it. And then, of course, we have Mike with the terrifying powers, which we're going to get into. So while I've been distracting you guys, so work on some background stuff, figure out what your labels and stuff kind of are. I want to circle back with the background questions in a little bit once you have a pretty good idea of them. I'm going to go down and get a soda and take like 5 minutes, and then we'll be back. And we'll do the rest of this. And so we'll go through the background pictures, and then the background questions. We'll do the relationship stuff, and we'll do the team questions. And then I think we're going to kind of be done for the night because I'm going to have to do a lot of thinking about what to do to you guys first. I would normally, because got to make sure that we're, thinking Ghost, Nova. I want to know more, Mike, about like about the events surrounding like you getting the power, which I think is some of the background questions. So
it is. And I'm thinking about that right now.
You should do that. I'm gonna go grab myself a soda. So awesome. You guys figure out your stuff.
We all meet at the bar and get kicked out.
Not old enough.
Damn it. Well, one of us is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I snuck out. I made
but it doesn't have ID, so it's like
I would break it into the liquor cabinet at the lab, but I would have to add to my Doom track, and I don't want to do that yet.
I was just there, so I'm looking up influence for playbooks.
Oh, whoa! It says give influence to all your teammates.
Yep.
That's what that. I have the choice of giving influence to nobody or giving it to everybody. So.
I have to give it, or I have to give it to one teammate, and it's the Ghost Girl.
I have to give it.
I like it.
So the Doomed has influence with 2 people, or no?
I have to give influence to 2.
Yeah. There we go. And the Legacy gives influence to all your teammates.
Oh, we need to write down who we have influence over.
Yeah. That's why I was asking to.
Okay, I understand.
Oh, that's the other way around.
That was part of why I was.
What did I miss?
Right.
I understand.
Okay, so
what did catch me up? What didn't I understand?
We were talking about influence and just sorting out who has what.
Oh, don't do that yet. I want to hear that.
Well, it's more like just like who does all the team have it? Do you have to pick 2 people? That sort of thing.
Right.
So we were just finding that on the sheets.
Oh, we don't have a protege. This is going to be interesting.
We can recruit one and train him up. It's fine.
Okay. Rival Jason Quill. Perfect. That's perfect. I'm going to jump, since I know Bill's written up this stuff. I'm going to ask the Bull some background questions.
Okay.
Which we may have already answered, kind of. So, no,
If it's who are you, who've changed you, that's on my sheet already.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yes, but we have to hear it.
That's what I mean. I want to.
Yeah.
I want to.
I'm just saying, like, I can read off there.
Yeah, I was going to say you've got this stuff. So who changed you?
So that's his dad. It wasn't like this evil. This is the diversion from the normal Bull. It wasn't like this evil organization turned him into a weapon. It's more like everyone in his frickin' life is expecting him to follow in his dad's footsteps.
So and he did put a chip in your. What was he fixing you from with the chip in your head? I don't remember that.
Brain damage at age 5.
All right. Right. Was that like an accident or some congenital thing, or
it's a consequence?
Radiation exposure.
It's basically the second generation effects of having super intelligence.
Okay, that works for me. So
from everyone else's perspective, basically like this adult man kidnapped his 5-year-old boy and put him through this unauthorized surgical procedure, and it's like, well, that went dark.
Sure, yeah. And of course, the hidden thing there is like, okay, evil supervillain, genius robot guy put a chip in the head of this kid. That's completely innocent. I'm sure there's nothing to worry about there. Is it possible that he put a governor on you? Like, not I mean like, oh, you're out of line, so I'm going to put you to sleep, but like throttling the intelligence?
You mean like a girl genius?
I got to say that's literally like one of his biggest fears, and this is also one of the reasons that he has AI companion friends and companions and friends to look out for him in case something goes wrong.
Like on one of those days when you're just stumped with a problem and you can't really seem to solve it, you have to wonder, am I stumped or am I being stumped?
Am I not being allowed to get the answer?
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's always lurking in the back of my mind. Am I dumb, or am I just not thinking about it, or is this being done to me? Nice. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. God, thematically, this is. I was reading a blog today, and it's not a blog that's super popular with some folks, certainly the ones that are into story game stuff. But it was very It was a almost atypically thoughtful analysis of how game design is different between like sort of classic game like D&D or the old school Revolution type stuff versus the indie story game type stuff. And it's not anything that I hadn't thought about, but the way that it was articulated was really well done, in that the purpose of like a lot of the OSR stuff is we're giving you all the tools that you're supposed to think around, because the purpose of the games are sort of solving problems, solving puzzles. And then the story sort of comes out of like figuring out the riddle, whatever the riddle happens to be. You've got, 50 foot of rope and a 10-foot pole and, a knife and a sword, and how do you solve this dungeon riddle, whatever that happens to be. And that's where the rules are in, making sure that you understand how those tools can be used so that you can then use them to the limits of your ability. These kinds of games, the rules are there to point you at a certain kind of story. Not to force it, but to just like sort of thematically, the rules are just going to make it so this is going to be the kind of story that gets kicked out. When it's said and done, it just kind of helps push you that general direction. And I'm seeing this. I'm listening to some other actual plays, and the guys come in with some kind of silly character concepts and some kind of silly names and stuff like that, and they're kind of just joking around. And there are a lot of D&D player type folks. And about the third or fourth session in, it's a Young Justice episode. I mean, and they've never, like, 3 of them haven't seen the show, and it's a particularly poignant Teen Titans episode. It's it's Avengers Academy, and it just happens, and they're totally into it. It's not like they're like going, I don't know, this guy kind of shoved down my throat. It's just the game does that. What it doesn't do is the other stuff. But anyway, it was an interesting kind of analysis. All right, so who changed you? this may or may not apply. How did you escape from them?
So basically, as mentioned, Rossum would come, perpetually just kidnap Leo out of his foster homes. What happened was that Aegis intervened, and especially Field Agent Waters, who was kind of assigned to his case, personally stepped in and became sort of a surrogate father for this kid.
Okay.
So it wasn't a physical escape, but it was an escape nonetheless.
And this is like he's an agent with Aegis?
Yeah.
Aegis or Aegis? Which one is that?
Aegis.
Aegis.
It's got an A and an E, so I figure you could roll the dice and just like, yeah.
All right.
On a 10 plus, it's Aegis.
Right. Escape from... God, I was just about to ask something that I kind of went out of my head. Bugger, I'm sure it'll come back to me. Oh, I wanted to let you know that the reference to Rossum's Universal Robots is not going unnoticed. So
Oh, yes.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway. Who I think you may have just answered this. Who outside of the team tries to take care of you now? That's...
So basically, his two robot assistants are really the ones who kind of keep a day-to-day eye on him. Agent Waters will drop by every so often, and much more likely to be a phone call, and just sort of check in and be like, "Hey, are you in a, is there anything we can do to help you out? Have you heard from your old man? Is there anything we should be aware of?"
If you've been bounced between foster families and stuff, like are you pulling down money from patents? How are you? Like, what's your financial situation?
What he was able to do with the assistance of Aegis' legal department was to get a fraction of seized assets that Rossum had stolen over his criminal career, sort of assigned to him in trust. And so he gets a regular stipend, not enough to like go out and party, but just enough to like make a living, go to college in due course, that sort of thing. So he's kind of being taken care of through like basically like property seizure and reclamation laws.
It's sort of like all of the stuff that your defense lawyers could prove had never been involved in any of the crimes that are being investigated, so it couldn't be held as evidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's a small enough percentage of all of your debt stuff that it's not a great income. Okay, I like that. Why do you try to be a hero?
Because everyone tells me that I'm not. That everyone's expecting me to become like Old Man Jr. and flip out and just, start making gadgets and blow up the city.
It doesn't help that you've got, some anger issues. How old is he? Like, where is he in college? He's in high school. What's he got going on?
I'm gonna say he's right about 17, right at that age where like he knows almost everything. He's forgotten a few things. Like at 16, he knew everything. He's kind of sliding down the other side of the hill now.
There was a really interesting thing I saw just a couple days ago that it was written by a nurse who, up until just recently, had been taking care of nothing but people over 40, and she had switched to kids. And she's like, and kids aren't like people over 40. They're just the rules are completely different. And a lot of it she explained in terms of whether or not they would accept stickers at the end of the checkup. So then you've got toddlers, and then you've got or not toddlers, but the like infants and stuff like that. And they don't want stickers because they'll just eat them. Toddlers always want stickers, and they'll just flip out and melt down for no reason whatsoever. And then the next one, like from 6 to 12, they're actually really fun. Like they're really clever, and they want stickers. When they get to the higher end, they're not sure if they want stickers, but they definitely want stickers. They'll definitely take stickers. You might have the meltdowns, but they're actually really fun. They can say some really crazy stuff. And then from 13 to 14, 15, something like that, how do they put it? They alternate wildly between adults and kids. Like they're either really young or they're older than you expect them to be, and they never want stickers because it's not grown up enough.
Dude, I would take stickers.
Although they secretly want the stickers, so even asking them frustrates them because they don't want you off. They'll if you offer them stickers, they'll say no because they figure they're being talked down to or treated like a kid. But they will take a sticker when you're not looking.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
The stickers.
And then the 17-year-old, she says, these are basically adults, but with no life experience. Like you're dealing with an adult who has like no frame of reference. They're like emotional. They're emotional goldfish. They have no backwards frame of reference. But they're basically adults.
And we just put this kid in Hulkbuster armor.
And they will. And she says, and they will always take stickers because at this point in time they figure taking stickers is funny, and also secretly they want the stickers because everybody secretly wants the stickers.
Hey,
Yep.
emotional goldfish.
Why do you think they have the I voted stickers or I gave blood stickers? Because adults want the stickers.
Everybody wants the stickers.
They just,
And then the adults have kids so that they can pretend they don't want the stickers when the kids put the stickers on. The thing of like basically the adult with no frame of like with no life experience is what I'm thinking of. Certainly for everybody, but this guy. And now he's in Hulkbuster. No, you know what? Here's the problem that we're going to have with this whole game is we're going to be talking about teens, and Catherine's going to be going, I am sitting right here. You do just fine. So if you didn't do just fine, you wouldn't have been continually invited back. So you're doing just fine. And in many cases, this is simply not going to apply to you. So just pretend I'm talking about Kaylee. It'll be fine.
I'm just going to say that Catherine struck me as someone who does have some life experience and has come out like ahead of the curve. So, like whoever's raising that kid, whoever they may be, wherever in the world that they are.
Well done. Okay, so why do you care about the team? Why do you care about the team?
Well, now that I've met them.
Yeah, now that we can actually answer that question, because in all of the ones that he wrote up, he had a TBD on all of those.
I'm going to say that all of these people feel like they're in some sort of dire, desperate conflict between how they want to just kind of relax and live and how their powers and backgrounds and histories are pushing them into. And Link can sympathize with that. So,
yeah, kindred souls, almost.
We got this guy with, like, amazing nanotech, which is going to kill him. We got somebody who was, who's now going to live forever in a world that she knows nothing about. We have a legacy speedster who's like has to slow down for the rest of us slowpokes. And we have the humility Green Lantern who just probably has to slow down for all the rest of you, but at the same time is always going too slow for everybody else that in his family
that they care about. Yeah.
Yes.
Or is expected to go faster.
Yeah. Gotta go faster, Barry. You gotta go faster.
Barry, run.
Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast.
Gotta go faster.
Gotta go faster.
Okay, we're not going to ask about when the team first came together. Relationships. So Numa is your love. You've opened up to them about the worst parts of your past. Is that the right blank to fill in for the relationship there?
At this moment, yes. I'm going to say that Link is still trying to figure himself out. Hasn't got like a love relationship with anybody else yet.
Okay.
He needs to get over that particular hurdle, but that's going to happen pretty fast.
Now, let me ask you this. If we take that part about it being your love out, and we just write that particular relationship as, you have opened up to blank about the worst parts of your past.
Like a confidant instead, or something like that?
Well, no, what I'm saying is, if we rewrote it like that, does it make any sense for that to have happened with anybody on the team? If we rewrite it like that. It doesn't have to be your love. Wouldn't necessarily be in that slot, but it might. Is there anybody on the team that in the presumed past, fairly short past that you've had with the team, that might have happened?
I'm going to say not yet. That was a slot that I kind of wanted to fill in play.
Okay, that's fine.
That was something I was looking forward to.
That's absolutely fine. And the rival, now, if we're filling in Jason Quill as your rival, what this thing assumes, I think this is interesting, Jason Quill is your rival. They tried to control you at a crucial moment. What did that look like?
Probably being bossy.
Like?
Probably telling him something that he shouldn't do.
I mean, I have a suggestion, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
So you're saying more of a social kind of control, Dave?
Yeah, sort of like Jason, for all of his other faults, kind of grew up in this. He could be played as a legacy because he grew up in this, science adventure family, and so he's got this certain code of conduct about how you comport yourself as.
He and the Nova have got the Boy Scout background in common.
Yeah.
Certainly.
So so probably he started really ragging on Link at one point about no, you once they're down, you don't keep hitting them. Or, no, you can't take their tech as booty. It has to be turned over as evidence.
I could actually tell you the thing that would piss Link off the most if you said it to him.
Now?
Why don't you just get back with your dad and ask him to fix me?
Harsh.
Why don't you just make up with your dad, and I'm sure he could do something for me.
I'm not sure if Quill would say, contact the supervillain and see if he can fix me.
I almost like that it would come out just like this impulsive, didn't think it through, spur of the moment, climax to a shouting match.
If you're only talking with your dad, maybe he could do something for this thing that's happening to me.
Because there's also the fact that I still have a dad in play.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now there's another possibility that I'm going to throw out there, and you guys can figure out. I like what you guys did. If you guys went with that, I'd be 100% behind it. But I'm going to also throw out this possibility. You're in the middle of a fight, and things are going crazy, and the nanobites are swarming everywhere, and you guys are doing stuff and blasting and stuff and you guys are the two techie people. And during the heat of battle, there's a swarm of nanobots that just infiltrates into Link's outermost layer and sort of breaks Otto off of him, peels Otto off of him into its, sort of takes over a portion of the suit, and peels it off of you so it can do another thing. So suddenly, one of the bits that are supposed to be A, autonomous, and B, part of your suit at that point in time, just because of what Jason asked the nanobots to do, they decide to solve that problem by, we'll just grab this robot and take it over and then do that thing that he wants us to do with this robot.
That would be extremely uncool.
And that would also, to my mind, count as try to control it. And also talks a little bit about how Jason doesn't quite have total control over the nanobots anymore. Or more so.
The real question, though, is which of these outcomes leave us with a coherent, functioning team? And that's difficult.
Well, either one of them you can definitely chalk up to something that happened in the heat of the moment. There could certainly, and you're a rival, so you're not necessarily going to be buddy anyway at this point in time. It's something to resolve. Although, keep in mind, the rivals and the loves can shift. Certainly the rivals can. But it certainly gives you there's reasons to kind of want there to be a challenge to the trust. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That kind of thing. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know what Dave thinks about that with the nanobot thing either.
I'm thinking. I mean, I could see
either
something
one
like
of those
that happen.
Either one of those would be great. I think personally, I'm fine with either one of them. I just wanted to throw out. You guys talked about the social side, so I'm
not sure that the two necessarily can't both be true. I mean, one of them can be the basis for this trying to control. The other is fallout from.
So the suit thing happened, and then you guys are fighting and arguing about it later, and it spirals even, and then that's when the shouting thing happened about if you got your dad back here.
I like that.
You don't like this so much, so it's all one big. So there's almost two efforts there to kind of say what you need to do, literally taking over, and then later even dictating your social life, your personal life, not social life, personal life. I like that. That's, I mean, what's the old? It's like the Futurama thing. Why not the both? I go. What moves did you go with? You get two bull moves. Which ones did you go with?
Physics, what physics, and punch everyone.
Physics, what physics? So physics, what physics? When you unleash your powers to barrel through an insurmountable barrier, you roll plus danger instead of plus freak. And punch everyone. Whenever you charge into a fight without hedging your bets, you can shift your danger up and any other label down. Oh boy.
Danger's my middle name.
Yeah. There's almost, it's not really the definitive bull move, but it's certainly in there. Whenever you have angry marked, take +1 ongoing on any unleash your powers rolls.
That's on the list.
It's on your to-do list.
Yep.
I had fun going through this. I actually kind of worked out like Connor Kent all the way through the first season of Young Justice because he basically spends most of his time grabbing moves from other people's playbooks because he gets the pet from Beacon, and then he goes through and gets the Kirby craft from the Outsider.
I really wanted to see a ghost with a Kirby craft, but I think that can wait.
If we get to the point where
possessed car,
it's gonna be a little. It's gonna be a horse carriage.
That would be one of those
with little Kirby crackles around it.
that's also amazing.
Wow. It's got to be a sleigh, though. I mean, you need no wheels. It's got to be.
Oh, of course, a sleigh that's like 2 inches off the ground.
So wrong. All right. All right.
Kirby crackles.
So we'll come back. We'll come back to the when the team first came together thing. I think we got the relationship things and influence. You're selective about who you let in. Give your love and your rival influence over you, but that's it.
Yep.
I will say this about influence, though. If you simply if it doesn't quite match up with stuff, you can always just say, "I want this person to have." You can always give influence if you choose to. You can't take influence away without it being something of a fight. But you can always give influence away. So there's certainly that. We don't have any delinquents. We don't have any we don't have any delinquents. We don't have any beacons. We have a doomed. We answered some of the backstory questions, Dave. Why does the team matter to you? Or did we already talk about that?
Yeah, we did that one.
Right.
The answer is because it's all I've got. The one that I didn't have a good answer for was the who outside of the team is a help against my nemesis, and all I can come up with is it must be. Let's scroll back to it.
It's too bad we don't have a delinquent because then we have somebody who's connected to the criminal underworld and might know where she is or.
Yeah, it must be my business manager, Barbara Josephs. I mean, she's a hard ass, but she makes sure I've got money, I've got a roof over my head, and helps clean up after me. She knows where the contracts are, skeletons in the closet, all the stuff that keeps me in the fight.
Interesting. So she's help on the nemesis. All right. Interesting. We'll have to think some more about that.
You finally have some female influence.
Relationships. You told Blank all about your doom and the danger you're in.
Well, I told Link all about it because, I mean, he has like a scientist father too, who's still around, for God's sake, and the jerk had the nerve to say that he was the unlucky one, and I should count my blessings.
Oh, it's so good. All right, you'd love to kiss Blank before your doom comes.
This better not also be Link.
You know, given the choice, I'm going to have to say Ghost Girl because
Yes.
she understands death, which is getting kind of morbid. Probably because I know it can't happen, so it's a safe thing for me to wish for.
I'm going to tell you right now what I want to see with that. By the way, I have to say this.
Uh,
I want this nanobot cloud with some sorcerer's spell on it to take physical form for her.
Nice. There's something I'm playing around with, like putting out like a little, just kind of a wish list of like stuff I'd like to see in the game, kind of thing that I'll throw out to everybody, so I can kind of see if I can sort of. I might send that out tomorrow or something when I got a chance to think about it a little bit more. These people matter for what you need to do. Give influence to 2 of your teammates.
Shoot. Oh, there. Okay. Oh, his name changed. That's the problem.
It's got to be Link. You care too much about what he thinks.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give influence back to Link. And I'm gonna say Mercury.
Okay. Now I'm curious why.
He's just he's kind of dealing with those legacy issues that I'm dealing with but don't get moves for.
Nice.
And so I kind of see him as kind of someone who's walked in my shoes a little bit.
What was Mercury's last name? Harry
Gale.
Harry Gale.
HG.
The atomic symbol for Mercury.
That's really good. Gale.
Gale, like the storm.
Yeah.
Gale.
Whoops, that's how you spell it.
Nice. Okay. All right. So let's get back over here. What do we got? And you took Doom Signs, your Dark Visions.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have most of your stuff there. We'll come back to the when your teams first came together. We don't have a Janus. It says something about the playbooks that no matter which ones we have, I can still look at the ones that we don't have and go, oh, okay, we've got our legacy here to look at. Harry, when did you officially become part of your legacy? Was this a puberty thing? Was this a...
Well, I was kind of 7 or 8 when powers first developed, at which point I was hustled off and handed over to Uncle Chase, who taught me the basics of speedstering. And then a few years after that, I was formally introduced to the public as Mercury.
Very nice.
Didn't really do anything, but would show up occasionally with my parents. Stop a burglar. Easy stuff.
Or you'd show up in like you got involved in stuff that your parents didn't necessarily want you, you just sort of stumbled into it and then had to stumble your way back out of it, and then they showed up afterwards for the news thing. It's like, oh yeah, totally planned, absolutely, completely part of this. Harry, what is the greatest accomplishment of your legacy? And please, God, don't say Flashpoint Paradox, because did you guys hear? Okay, first of all, Flashpoint was the animated Flash movie, and then they've done Flashpoint now for the last 2 seasons of Flash, and now that's what they're doing.
And now they're going to make it the Flash movie.
And now that's the Flash movie too. I'm like, I swear to God, there's at least a couple other good Flash stories. There's at least a couple.
No, the point is they're being stuck on repeat, a repeat of Flashpoints as they try and fix the previous one.
Oh my God. All right.
No, I came up with some great comic book physics BSing.
Okay.
So, the greatest accomplishment was when my parents defeated their arch nemesis, King Winter, his ultimate weapon, where he hooked up his cold powers that basically drew every bit of ice or moisture from space and sent it just bright, hurtling towards Earth at ungodly speeds, including Pluto. Because, yeah, Pluto. And at which point, Streak and Tempest combined their speed and, by running around the Earth, managed to increase the spin enough to move it out of the way of the incoming debris and planet, saving the day just in time.
Without throwing the planet completely out of the solar system in the process of
increasing
the speed. Physics was suspended. Comics. Okay, I distinctly remember a Super Friends episode where Flash saved the Earth from flying into the sun by wrapping the entire planet in white cloth so it would reflect the heat more. Okay? You're fine. You're just fine.
Superman has flown around the Earth to send it back in time.
Yeah.
No. He flew fast enough that he broke the time barrier.
Except he made the planet spin backwards.
No, it was just relative to him because he was traveling back in time.
I see. Okay.
Come on, it wasn't that stupid.
It was only mostly stupid.
Okay, how does Harry? How does the public perceive your legacy?
Oh, the public loves them. There are 3 separate holidays centered around them. One for the streak, one for Tempest, and one for the day when they literally moved heaven and earth to save the human race.
No holidays for you.
No,
Of course not.
I barely get my birthday.
Nice.
It's the
You get Mercury minute every June.
So much bitterness.
Only leap years.
my birthday is 2 days before the the saving the Earth Day. So all the preparations are always going on, and it's this big celebration a week in advance, and
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
corner.
You never even get to go to Dart Wars. It's just the worst.
Yeah.
How does your legacy tie into your reasons for being a hero?
I mean, I was raised to be a hero. I want to be the best hero there is, so that I can earn my parents' praise, but also so that I can surpass them and become kind of a hero in my own right, not being constantly compared to them.
Interesting. Okay. How's your relationship? I mean, are they very stern? Is it a very negative relationship? Are they? I mean, I keep
aren't around that much for people who are
able to be literally
break
anywhere
the
all the
sound
time.
barrier. They never seem to find time for me.
I keep thinking of the Kirk Douglas and the 2 superhero parents in God, what is that movie called? Superhero High?
Oh,
Sky High.
Commander Jetstream. That's Kurt Russell.
Yeah, Kurt Russell and I can't remember the name of the actress.
You know, I don't think I ever finished that movie.
Oh, you gotta watch! It's so good. It's
No,
so bad and it's
I've
so
seen
good.
parts of it as a kid, and then I'm like, whoa, I never finished this. I need to watch it again, and I tried to, and I just got hung up on stupidity.
Oh, it's so good though. It's so terrible and it's so good. Okay, the guy who's currently playing, the main guy in the Expanse sci-fi show, is War and Peace. And I mean, come on, War and Peace. That's like the best name ever. War and Peace. The girl.
Is he related to Hawk and Dove?
No, he's like the son of a supervillain, and his mom is a superhero, and it's yeah. So he's like the Judd Nelson character for the thing. The girl with the plant powers is frickin' Caitlin Snow from The Flash. It's just so good. You got to watch it and just watch it and love it so much because it's so good and terrible. It's so good and so terrible.
I'm getting mixed messages here.
I watched it for fun. I just decided to pop it in with the kids to see what they thought of it, and it's now become like about, I want to say, monthly watch, at least bi-monthly. It'll rotate back through where the kids are like, they'll see it spin by on Netflix and decide that they've got to watch it again. It's just it's a must do. Sidekick. Oh yeah, they got freaking Bruce Bruce Campbell, like Sonic powers. It's just so good. All right, why do you care about the team then, Mercury?
Because when I'm with the team, I can be more who I really am, not the legacy child of these 2 great speedsters. They can see me, not my parents.
I love it. Relationships. You once got caught doing something that shames your legacy. With?
No clue.
Oh, come on. Think about it. We'll come back to it. You trust blank and told them an important secret of your legacy.
Oh, shoot. I did have an idea for this. Who was it?
I don't know. You think about it. And influence is easy for you because you give influence to everybody.
Woo!
You're a part of this team, for better or worse, and you care what they think. Give influence to all of your teammates. So everybody has influence over Mercury.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Think about the relationship stuff because I'm very curious about the answers to both of those questions. Especially once you say who you got caught doing something that changed your legacy with. I want to know what that was.
Oh, thanks.
I think that's important stuff to know. Who took you out clubbing one night? Or whatever. Nova. Oh, wait. I'm going to back up for a second. Did you grab your legacy moves? What did you grab?
I think I'm actually going to change one of them.
What's the one you're not going to change?
Never give up, never surrender.
When you take a powerful blow from someone with far greater power than you, use this move instead of the basic move. Roll Savior. On a hit, you stand strong and choose one. On a 7 to 9, also mark a condition. You get an opportunity or opening against your attacker. You rally from the hit and it inspires the team. Add one team to the pool. I will say for the record that from what I've seen so far, at least in actual play and what I'm reading and stuff like that, team is probably my favorite way of doing helping in any Powered by the Apocalypse game. It's so straightforward. I describe what I do, and if there's points in the pool, I describe what I do to help, and I just can take a point out of the pool and drop it on you. It's so simple and straightforward and awesome. You rally from the hit, inspires, add one team to the pool, or you keep your attacker's attention. On a miss, you go down hard, but leave your opponent off balance and vulnerable, which I like. Like even if I go down, I pull them out of a link. That's good. What were you thinking about for the other one?
I was thinking the legacy matters or the special other move.
Oh, the one from the other book or from the little document.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. When you take influence over someone from your legacy, take influence over someone from your legacy. Oh, I see. Mark potential and gain +1 forward. When someone from your legacy causes your labels to shift, mark potential and take one. So yeah, that's. I mean, your legacy is going to be involved a lot. Make sure, please, that you get down your legacy members' names down in your notes so I can look at them because they're going to have to show up a bunch. So it's really on me to make sure that they're in there and stuff. So that's the whole point. Oh, and also look down at that legacy stuff there. Your legacy is an important part of Hellston City. Name the different members. You've got that stuff.
I already got one.
You got, still active and prominent, retired and quite judgmental. The next possible member of your legacy. I like that. Who's the next possible member of your legacy? And is the greatest opponent of your legacy ever faced and still at large. So you kind of get a baby.
King Winter.
Who's that?
King Winter, the guy who tried to bring Pluto crossing into the Earth.
Very nice. Very nice. So you actually get sort of a baby legacy, a baby nemesis, sort of, in that the legacy has a nemesis. Whenever time passes, roll Savior to see how the members of your legacy feel or react to your most recent exploits. Nice. All right.
Yeah. I get Mom and Dad and all the others calling up, talking about what I've done.
Please, if you don't, I will. But that whenever time passes move needs to go down to your passive moves because that's going to be something that just happens all the time. Okay, and we've got. It's
like Grandma calling up in the middle of a test or something. Honey, I saw what you did yesterday on the news.
Your mom,
it was really great, but I think if you could just manage to get that phasing, you could have taken him down in much less time.
And you know how important that is. Your mom's very worried. All right, so Mr. Nova.
Yes.
Conquer.
So I have put in a little bit more info into the bio, and I think that might explain these abilities slightly better.
Okay, let me look. Bio info over here. Cosmic energies, the powers of virtue. You hang out all the time with Ghost Girl to blow off steam. I like where this is going.
She understands that you don't have to have a high opinion of yourself. You don't have to be one of these flashy kids.
Nice. You once hurt blank when you lost control of your powers. We don't know that yet. Influence, lockdown, demeanor. There's a lot of TBDs over here on this backstory.
Yes. Well, just for how I'm getting a better feel for it.
No, that's all good. It's all good. Team moves. I want you guys to take note of your team moves. They don't necessarily come up right now, but I do want you guys to kind of see what they are, because they do determine, they do kind of indicate to a certain extent the kind of interactions that you're likely to have at certain times, certain key times during play. Adam Amari Cancor has been chosen as vessel for the Universal Concordance, which governs the universal concepts which we consider virtues. Dream of seeing limited cosmic beings or granted cosmic powers that he still barely comprehends. Truth, love, courage, honesty, compassion, valor, justice, blah, 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 fuels his powers and is directed on to be able to control his abilities. Their opposites, deceit, hatred, and cravenness, however, are the antithesis of his powers and react violently to his abilities. When facing villains, this merely causes his energy to flare and spark around him. When he feels them, however, his power reacts violently and usually in a dangerous manner. I like it. That works really well.
I figured that was a little bit more where I was going and would be better or easier to understand.
Yes. All right. Okay. Where are we at here?
So the 4 moves I chose for him, ask you questions. Let's go.
So when did you first use your powers?
I have a feeling as though it was something where somebody was. I figure Adam's like on the younger scale of things. Like,
sure. Okay.
Let's put him at like 13 or 14-ish as opposed to the older kids.
I think what's interesting about that is that's an age where you can be. I mean, probably it's true of any age, but certainly at that age, you can be truly idealistic because you haven't. I mean, there's still a potential there to be free from the shades of gray that you start to pick up on as you go. So if you've got a power that is, kind of has a very high opinion of itself, and well, it does, and it's looking for the ideal host. It wants to find somebody truly pure of purpose, and unfortunately, what that means is it picked a kid because all these people are all shades of gray, and all of them have been tainted by the cynicism of their time in mortal coil and this entity, and it doesn't really have a concept of the fact that it's like, dude, that's because I'm 13. So yeah, I think that makes good sense. You got him at that? Are you still young, or are you?
No, I think he's still young. I kind of want to be on.
So this would. You guys aren't all going to be going to the same school because different ages and stuff like that. But you're going to be on the same team. All right.
Well, I was going to say he could be in like the junior high that's built into the high school where everybody else goes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Jason.
Or if you want an even bigger source of humility threat, the AP classes, you got a place to hit.
You got moved up. So you have to come in you're like taking freshman and sophomore classes in the high school, which is the worst. Like going into the high school as a junior high kid is terrifying. As a 6th grader, an indication of my great love of Tolkien was the fact that the only way I could get copies of the Lord of the Rings books, the only copies that existed in town, were in the high school library when I was in 6th grade. And I walked, and it was on the 3rd floor of the high school, so I had to walk through every floor of the high school to get up to it and check the books out, during study halls and stuff like that. And I did it repeatedly and was willing to run that, or rather walk that gauntlet to go and I had to get my Tolkien fix. All right.
Stressful just to walk down the senior hallway as a freshman.
Oh, God. Yeah, same thing. Even worse. Who was the first person you accidentally hurt with your powers?
So I want to go with. So when was the first time you used your powers, and who was the first person you accidentally hurt with your powers? I want it to be like the same person but different events. So it's like, as like a kid, out in the, out in the hallways or something like that. He saw some other kid picking on somebody. It was just like that was the first time like he'd really seen any great injustice while he was after he'd gotten his powers. So it was just like right in the middle of that, he like threw up a barrier around the kid who was getting bullied, and it was just like, what the hell's going on here? And everybody just sort of stopped. It was like, that was the end of it. And he tried to keep like really low key after that, but later on, it's like, that kid just kept on picking on people, and he, was just a bully to everybody. And just one day, like, that sort of welled up in Adam. He got really angry and started hating that kid. And that's when his powers were just like, oh, we must end him. And not like killed him or anything, but just like hurt him really bad, like in some permanent way.
Because once again, dude, you don't get it. They're 13.
And that's when it's like, that's when Adam kind of had to learn. It's like, oh crap, I have to actually keep control of myself. I can't let all these thoughts like run away with him. And now he's like, that's that kid now. He has to go visit like at the hospital or something like that, or like take his homework home to him or something like that.
I want to know who that kid is. I want to know his name. Who outside of the team helps you control your powers?
You know what? He's a little kid. He had to have told his parents. Like, that was not something he could have kept to himself.
The only thing, and I say this with some consideration, the only thing that I liked about Superman Man of Steel, the second to last movie that had the one that had Harry Cavill in it, the only thing I liked about it was watching his parents deal with having a kid that was superpowered, terrifyingly superpowered, and totally not in control of it, and trying to deal with it and stuff like that, and talking the kid down when like the super hearing is so bad that you're like having a nervous, you're having an anxiety attack in the school closet. So yeah, I love the idea of the parents having to like sort of help with this. So how long is he? Is it fairly recent that he's had the powers, or is he?
Yeah, I figure it's like maybe a year at the longest.
So the family's still coping, and it's everything's day to day. But the power probably doesn't let you like not be a superhero. It isn't like you can just like let's just ignore it until you're 18. Like it needs.
It has to. It like forces itself upon him. There you go, Joyce.
I like it.
Get those hooks in.
I like it. I'm actually reading a book right now called the Guide to Being a Supervillain, or Rules to Being. I can't remember what the name of the book. It doesn't really matter. But the guy inherited like this cloak of a superhero, and he finds out after he gets it that if he doesn't use his powers regularly, like basically on a daily basis, the dead start to rise in the city. So it's the reason that the other guy was. Like the reason that the guy was so active all the time was that he basically had to use his powers every day, or the dead would rise, apocalypse, end of the world type stuff.
Cats and dogs living with each other.
Yeah.
Mass hysteria.
It was like bleeding it off or something like that. It's actually something like that in Rat Queens too, because all of the priests of that one like sort of Cthulhu god are actually using their powers to bleed power off the Cthulhu. Like the reason they worship him and use magic derived from him is because that keeps him weak enough that he won't rise. Like that's the whole reason that they do that. Like they continue to worship him is because that's how they keep him down. All right, why do you continue to use your powers? I think we may have just answered that. Because if you don't, they will use you. It will just get frustrated and more powerful. So are you bleeding it off somewhat by using it? Are you keeping it sort of satiated by bleeding off some of the excess energy?
Oh, probably just a little bit.
You have an ADHD like power. It's like you got to keep it active or it's just going to be. All right. Why do you care about the team?
I think that, this is this might loop back to the parents thing, but I think like his parents got him involved in it. Like maybe like they talked to like Aegis or something like that, and that put him in touch with Mercury's parents. And then it's like, oh no, our kid's already on like a part of a team or something like that. Here, he'll learn a whole lot from these kids. They're a good bunch.
Oh my God. Is one of the reasons, I wonder how naive Harry's parents are. I wonder if one of the reasons that you hang out with Ghost Girl is because so far as you know, you can't accidentally hurt her.
Ooh, that is a good one.
Like you can't just
Yep.
Now the fact of the matter is you probably could.
I just don't understand the ways in which I could.
I just have to vibrate my powers at a certain different frequency and everything. So you once hurt blank when you lost control of your powers. This is outside of the other. That's like the first one, but somewhere during a fight or like the first time you got in a fight or something, I don't know. But you once hurt somebody when you lost control of your powers.
Who would be a good choice here?
We just talked about. I mean, off the top of my head, Mercury would be a good one simply because he moves so fast you wouldn't have realized he was in the way.
That does make a good choice.
Hey,
and then
regen.
What's that?
Regen.
And you've got regen. So
No. I kind of see it as like this thing where it's like, accidentally hurt Mercury, and it's like, oh crap, I'm so sorry. It's like, no, I'm fine. I'll be good in like an hour. Don't worry, I won't tell my parents or anything. Are you sure?
Oh, that stings. Dude, no, I'm good.
Do you have any do you have any idea how many times I've had to regrow this femur just this month? Don't worry about it. It's this happens with seriously. You keep forgetting. I don't turn that well, and I can't phase through walls. Trust me, I've broken a bone or two before. So you need to pick 4 flares that you can spend. What did you pick?
So I figure he is not like, since he doesn't want to be one of those people who are like, throwing out his power. He's a little bit scared of it. I chose Boost, where he can supercharge another person's efforts.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I chose Moat to create a barrier.
Spend 1 burn to create a barrier that will hold back threats as long as you keep your attention on it. The GM may call for you to spend another burn if the barrier is threatened by the only downside to that is it doesn't move necessarily, but if you can get it up, it's good stuff. You could probably move it with doing like unleash your powers or something like that. What's the next one?
Shielding.
You call up a fast. Now this one's totally mobile. A fast protective shield to stop a danger. Spend 1 burn to defend someone else from an immediate threat. Rolling freak instead of savior. Totally useful.
Yeah. And then overcharge.
You channel the full capacity of your incredible powers to overcome an obstacle, reshape your environment, or extend your senses. Spend 2 burn and just take a 10 when you unleash your powers. Boom. Love it.
Yep. And so specifically, I did not choose anything that actually like hurts anybody else.
Now there's stuff that happens if you blow like your unleash your powers rolls.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I want those all to be not intentional.
So yeah, those. I want to make sure when I hurt people that I didn't mean to, and it was because I completely lost control. So choose your demeanor: happy facade or locked down.
We're going to go with locked down because I figure he is like...
I keep thinking of... Is it terrible that you're reminding me of Elsa from the beginning of Frozen? Like...
Put your gloves on.
Yeah, the parents are like, listen, man, conceal, don't feel, all right?
Hey,
if
his parents sent the problem off to other people as well.
Exactly. If you chose locked down, give influence to 1 teammate. Who are you giving influence to?
Ghost Girl.
Everyone trusts Ghost Girl because Ghost Girl's...
because everybody has influence over everybody.
It would be really hilarious if she ends up with influence over everybody and ends up being like the de facto leader because everyone listens to her. And she doesn't understand anything. No, that would be weird. All right, so where did you come from, Ghost Girl? I guess that would be the Civil War era.
Yes.
All right, and why did you come back? What was it? It was like a fight between a supervillain and a superhero that washed over into the cemetery and brought you back in some way?
Yeah, so it was basically a fight between a magic-based superhero and a time-traveling villain, and it spilled over into the Oakland graveyard in Atlanta. And so when the powers came together and struck my grave, it brought me back or created me in my ghost.
Yeah. I'll have to look. I need to look up. I'll look up some people. I want names for those guys that are sort of responsible for you existing.
Yep, I just have them in parens right now. But
yeah. So until we figure out who exactly. Nice. Why do you want to stay here for now, at least? I love this as a ghost. It's so good.
Well, I mean, because two things. One is, I lived a very sheltered life, and there's the inherent thrill and joy of experiencing life, experience this time, having a certain amount of independence.
Sure.
And being able to do that. So, yeah, not being a
they have all these cool
Civil War
toys.
ghost. Yeah.
They have all these cool toys. Everyone's so forward thinking, and they dress quite differently than they used to too. Wow, that's quite a. Is it a dress? It's kind of a dress. Kind of a Yep. That's interesting.
So, her description is a translucent young Southern woman with dark wavy hair in a period clothing, no costume.
Interesting. I like it.
So my dress is black. It's got
a
white sort of lacy crochet collar to it. It's got a black, not really a hat. I can't remember what it's called.
Bonnet?
Well, you can see it in the picture. There's another name for it.
Annoying?
Nude.
Snood. If I was writing this comic, I would want I don't know. I would want like an African American on the team or something like that, because she's from the South, from the Civil War.
I actually had initially picked an African American picture from the
really?
time period.
Huh.
Yeah,
that would be another way of doing it too, which would also be really interesting. It'd be great if there was somebody that was on the team that was also dealing with that, and providing this. That's what I was looking for before.
diversity.
Yeah, well, just that, and also
different points of view.
Yeah, and also being like being able to sort of like actually demonstrate like this is what this is like for me today now, in contrast to the way that it was for you in the past, is interesting. Where, for instance, now, Catherine, I'm not actually doing this. I'm just throwing this out here because I was thinking of it. So don't feel like I'm going, this is what your character needs to be now. But it was the first one I found that I have in my vast collection of superhero pictures. And it's really kind of a disturbingly large number of those. But anyway. I don't know if you guys saw that on over on Roll20.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know where I found this. This is the ones I've had for so long I can't honestly. There's another one. I've been trying to find where on I'm assuming DeviantArt I found these guys, because I'm pretty sure it was when I was looking for Young Justice OCs or some sort of search like that, because it's that same kind of art style. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Why do you want to stay here for? But honestly, even if we don't have that with the rest of the group, it might be interesting to do that with her, just because it's an interesting kind of. If you decide to go with the other picture, that would be really interesting too.
Okay.
Because it's such a
let me ponder.
It'd be because it depends on whether or not you want to get into that kind of stuff, because it is interesting and oh wow, we've come so far, and in other ways not so much. All right, so we're going to stay here for at least for now because it's so awesome. Why do your people want you to come home? Ugh.
I think that's kind of obvious.
Yeah, I mean, is it
Tain't natural.
taint natural?
I was going to say, we're all trusting her. Maybe they all trust her too and want her to come home.
Yeah, having her be some sort of bridge or balancing act or something like that is super fun too.
They find the modern world offensive. They don't want anybody in the family to have any part of it.
This is just wrong.
Well, yeah. So I mean, there's the immediate family and their reactions to it, but then I think there's the broader, cemetery ghost world.
Exactly. The whole all ghosts. Why when we say your people, in this case we're talking about the Wakeful Dead,
Mm-hmm.
Why are they messing with you, kind of a thing.
Well, I think that the way I see it is that ghosts are sort of like people. They're good and they're bad and evil, and you're never really quite sure what you're going to be encountering when you contact them.
Yeah. Okay. Why do you care about the team?
They're my anchor to the here and now.
Ooh. Like literally, not even figuratively, but like literally. In some way, shape, or form. I mean, I'm just wondering if being around them makes it easier to actually legitimately makes it easier to be around or to be here, to stay.
Yeah.
Partly because you're siphoning energy directly off of the Nova, and he doesn't realize it. And, you're leeching.
Probably for the best.
He's got a little bit to spare. When I'm not pulling it off the bull.
You've been learning about the modern day by spending time with
Harry.
Oh, with
because
Harry?
Believe it or not, he's actually the most normal, and I find all of the others pretty intimidating.
That's pretty funny. Oh, that's funny. You have a crush on, but keep it under wraps.
Jason.
Okay.
Aww.
All that jet setting around, and
So fancy.
Well, and just
Love.
He's been to New York City.
That confidence.
He's been to New York City. Oh, that's fantastic. That is so funny. He's been to New York City.
Speaking of which, where is Halcyon?
Halcyon is, well, I mean, in my mind, I'm kind of putting it in
Is it East Coast, West Coast?
I don't know. What do you guys think? Where do you want it? Chicago? Right on Lake Superior? Right on up in the mountains, out on the West Coast? Where do we want it? We have opinions.
Well, I was going to say, it would make the most sense for it to be somewhat southern. That way, the southern dead girl's body had some reason for being in a graveyard there.
We can put it in the general location of Atlanta. Does that make sense? Or is that too? No, that's Georgia. Well, no, that would work. Kind of on the west coast.
Why wouldn't it? Yeah, it'd be coastal.
Yeah, coastal, just north of Florida, so that's plenty southern.
Uh-huh.
It's an extremely diverse and cosmopolitan city. It's truly a world city, in many, many, many ways. But yeah, you're right. I mean, having it down south does make a lot more sense for certainly Ghost Girls. I'm curious what her real name is once upon a time. So you have fun.
It's already there.
Oh, it's there?
Her name is Charlotte Palmer.
Charlotte.
Yes.
Of course it's Charlotte.
A very popular name in the 1850s.
Incidentally, if you when you guys are done picking out your playbook, if you check the checkbox next to playbook, it minimizes the whole thing so that all the other playbooks aren't up there.
Oh, nice.
So it cleans it up quite a bit. The moves, belonging in two worlds, the best of them, not so different after all. Confess a flaw of your home, mislead them about your home, blah, 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 blah. Very cool. Keep those in mind. I won't be able to keep track of most of these. And they're interesting in
Well, so for example, the best of them is one of the reasons why I thought that Harry using me for who calms you down,
Right. Yeah. Because it's
because it sort of works with my
yeah. That's really good.
Was Harry, now Adam, because I didn't realize we had another Harry.
Wait, did I use the wrong name there?
No, I think you were. She was talking about Mercury.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, and so we've got Adam, yeah. Harry, Jason, Leo. Okay.
Well, no, I mean it would be actually for any of them. They're all loose.
Anyway,
they all need a bit of talking down.
Yeah, the ghost is like the party therapist, which I think is hilarious. It's fantastic. And you say there's no healers, but man, I tell you what, people who can do good talking are worth their weight in gold in this game. I need to have it. It's like people are just like after a really rough mission, people just lined up outside of Charlotte's room.
And she makes cookies.
Very nice.
The best chocolate chip cookies, and they always come out so warm.
She uses nutmeg for some reason, so it kind of tastes like Christmas in a weird way. It's just so weird. So you can manipulate stuff. You've got density control enough to be able to but you can do like the going through walls thing.
Which really pisses Harry off.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
He is never allowed to meet my parents.
The ghost girl can do it.
I never hear the end of it.
The ghost girl can do it. Just study her. All right. Choose your demeanor. I'm assuming we're going with cheerful.
Yeah, I already marked that as everyone has influence on me.
Everyone has influence over you. You have a lot of influence over other people, though, don't you? Don't you have or have you been writing that down in your influence block?
Yep, she's got influence over Adam.
Wait, so she has influence over Harry. She has influence over Adam.
Adam.
Yep.
Does she have influence over Jason? Yes. No.
No. I secretly love Jason. Or secretly have a crush on him.
But Jason didn't give her influence. Oh, I thought he did. Link and Mercury. Okay.
Where are we putting that?
Oh, there's an influence over.
Oh,
box.
there. I got it. Yeah. So I have Harry and Adam.
And Link gave influence to.
Just the love of the rival for now. So basically just Jason.
Right, at this point. I'm just looking to see who's got who's currently winning when it comes to influence. Like who's got the most influence over the most people. We got Ghost Girl and Mercury. Concourse got influence over Ghost Girl and Mercury. Ghost Girl's got Mercury and Adam. Mercury has... Oh, not bad. Jason, Charlotte, Concord.
Am I doing this right? Is it these are people who have influence over me or who I have influence over?
People that you have influence over.
Oh, then it's everyone.
No, other way around.
You've given influence over yourself
to everybody, but you don't put it down like that. You write down who you have influence over.
So you have influence over Ghost Girl.
Which is right. So you were right. She gave you influence. So I'll put it back in here.
I got it.
So Jason gave you...
Wait, no. Nope. What?
No.
Hey, Dave, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
You're in mute, dear.
Sorry.
So say that again, Dave.
Oh. No, maybe I wrote it wrong. I thought that I had...
Yeah, I thought...
influence to Link and to Mercury. Link gave me influence. Mercury, did you give influence to me as well?
No.
You're all...
Okay.
Mercury crossed weird, dear.
Mercury gave influence to everybody. So everybody has Mercury on your list.
I have influence over and am influenced by Link and Mercury.
Yes. So
Ghost Girl. You have influence over Ghost Girl.
So Link,
everybody does.
Yeah. Mercury, yeah, everybody gets influence over Ghost Girl and Mercury. That's a given. Mercury, you should have influence over Jason because Jason gave it to you. You should have Charlotte in your list, and you should have. I think that's it.
That's it.
Is that it? Because Concord only gave it to Ghost Girl. All right. So then we can modify this. The reason you're only tracking who you have influence over is because it affects your roles. So it doesn't matter if Jason, for example, is keeping track of the fact that he gave you influence, because it never affects anything that he does. It affects stuff that you do. Because any roll that you make that's directly pointed at Jason, for example, is at a +1 because he cares.
It also allows you to do certain moves.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a note or just that we should put something in the bios as to what your archetype is, because that's not one of the questions in there. I was just noticing.
What do you mean?
Oh,
well,
so
like
you
I'm
can't
looking at
see
people's
what other
bio.
Oh, yeah. You're right. You can't see.
So we need to make sure we put that in like at the top of the bio.
Like
yeah.
Yeah, sure. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And the influence, the reason it's kind of in there to a certain extent is because it changes constantly. Influence comes and goes almost as quickly as the labels come and go because people will push it off. You'll get influence over people, various things. It does kind of open up some moves, but you can also, like, you can use Pierce the Mask to be able to influence people. Like with Provoke is one of those things of like Provoke is automatically going to be a viable move against somebody that you have influence over, but you can also kind of use Provoke over people that you've done Pierce the Mask on, so you can kind of like read them and that kind of thing. So that matters too. You might end up with influence over people because you do a comfort thing, all kinds of stuff. So that happens everywhere. And Link has influence over anybody? Well, Charlotte and Mercury for sure, and then Jason. So,
yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Oh my God, is it really that time?
11:15, yes.
I thought this one would be faster. Holy crap.
Oh, we got a lot done.
We did get a lot done. I'm going to ask these questions real quick, at least for you guys to think about. So when your team first came together, and this is in a certain order, I kind of want these answered in. So this is kind of, take note of the order in which I ask this. So we might need to do this on the forum or something like that. When your team first came together, that's the thread to start. When your team first came together, Bill needs to answer when we defeated a dangerous enemy. Who or what was it? That's got to be the first question that we answer. And then once he's answered that, Mike, you get to chime in with, we destroyed our surroundings in the fight. Where was it, and what did we destroy?
Is that the one for the Nova?
That's the Nova, isn't it?
No, I thought it was we paid a high cost for victory.
No, that's the Doomed.
That's the Doomed.
Oh, because I copy and pasted yours. That's why.
Yes. So the Bull, we defeated a dangerous enemy. Who or what was it? Nova, we destroyed our surroundings in the fight. Where was it, or what did we destroy? Outsider, we didn't trust each other at first, but that changed. How and why? And then we paid a high cost for victory. What was it? And finally, Legacy. All things considered, we did pretty well and impressed an established hero. Who was it? So we kind of need to, there's a narrative order to this kind of thing. So that's sort of the order that we need to answer that stuff in. So
Brenda Swift called me up and she said, hey, you guys didn't do half bad, though I have a list of things you could fix.
No, this is somebody who's actually honest to God impressed, which may or may not, it probably won't necessarily be the folks in your legacy. We can have a completely different person for this. And I got to think a little bit about the backgrounds here and stuff like that. Your legacy is definitely going to be calling you up and talking about the first big team fight and what they
never stop.
What you think about everybody else on the team. What do you think about that Link kid? He seems really good. Well, blah blah blah. basically just do your fill in your part as like a reply to whatever thread we get started there on. Like, actually, I'll just start it up here. But that's what we'll do. We don't need to do it right now. We can talk about that if you guys have other questions, stuff like that. I didn't realize it had gotten so late. I apologize. Just so wrapped up in the charge end.
And Joyce, I statted some NPCs for you in the forums as well, so whenever you get around to that.
Oh, my word. Of course you did. I love it. We got NPCs. Good guys or bad guys? Or just the answer yes?
Well, all the characters that I've introduced.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That'll be fun. There's some good ones there. I tell you what, that was it titanium? No. Is that titanium, and then the transformed would go right in. Oh man, it would fit right into the Invincible comic. I tell you what, it's cool.
And you're 100% okay to use any of those other suggestions for NPCs here as well.
Okay, that's great. I'll see how they sock it in. Other questions that I just that we can kind of bang around and stuff like that is what kind of headquarters base, do you guys have? Do you even have one? Is it just a meeting room in like a conference center, or do you actually have a base? We can figure something out there.
This long table we meet around.
This one coffee table. Everything takes place at Jitters because it's apparently one of the only sets, and they just keep redoing it for different timelines. Or oh my God, they've used that set so many times on Flash, it's not even funny. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna get going. You guys should get going because crap, it's late. Thank you guys so much. I'm excited. These guys, this is good. This is gonna be horrifying. I mean, terrible things are gonna happen. We're gonna feel so bad about these guys. And I think we will have done our job if at the end of every session we will have at least at one point in time gone, aw, poor kid. This poor kid. Anyway. All right. Cool. Any other last minute things, or just ask in the forum or whatever?
Nope, but I am super excited.
I am too.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Good. We'll of course, I expect that I will I'm probably going to put up like a wish list of like something I hope happens in the story, kind of a thing, to like have you guys. That'll be a thing that I just have you send to me because I want it to be surprises for folks. And base and answers about that big fight that kind of brought us all together, or our first time as a team or whatever. And then from there we can kind of go.
Sweet.
I like it. Good stuff. All right. I'm going to stop screen sharing, which I've been doing for literally the entire night. All right. Cool. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks so much. It was fun.
Great.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.